Thank you, Honorable Kennedy. Honorable King.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And also let me add my voice to thank Honorable Guidance, Chair Committee of Commerce and Trade and Investment for presenting this very important report. Honorable Speaker, the House is House of Record. And I remember when we were in Arusha, December, we debate the bill of the statistic bill until we adjourned to this meeting in Arusha, in Zanzibar. And I remember very well that we made an resolution that the member of committee must not debate their own report. And that's why before I made proceed on that regard, because we agree on that matter, because the member of the committee of trade, they discuss their own bill before the other members discuss. Because now my phone is very short. Honorable Engineer Moya is raised a very important point, and he is a member also of trade, which is the U.S. are banned EAC country for second-hand clothes. And he is a member of the Committee of Trade. And when I look for observations and recommendation of the committee, that matter is not there. I think it is confused very well. Anybody even said he support the motion without amendments. Even me, I'm confused also. Honorable Speaker, I support the motion with this amendment to urge the council that about why U.S. are warning our ESC who banned the second clause to our region.
Thank you, Honorable Kim. And you will put your proposed amendment in writing. Thank you. Honorable Mariam, then Honorable Dr. Makame.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. First of all, being home, let me take this opportunity, like my colleague, to welcome you all in Zanzibar, welcome you all in Baraza la Wakilishi. I hope you've enjoyed your stay, and we are here for you for the remainder of your plenary time. Right, Honorable Speaker, I have very brief comment to comment, but before I do so, let me also condole with other Tanzanians. Yesterday evening, we have lost a media mogul with the name of Ruge Mutahaba, who is a Clouds Media Group CEO, and he is responsible for the employment and development of many youth in Tanzania and in East Africa. He's also recognized the efforts of women in Tanzania by introducing Malkia wa Nguvu, which is the program that recognizes women in all sectors of business. Right, Honorable Speaker, I am not a member of regional committee, of CTI, but in this report, they were mentioned of interregional agreements with European and US, if I'm not mistaken, especially the issue of EPA. Right, Honorable Speaker, if I remembered well, last year, if I'm not mistaken, either last year or late 2017, almost the end of 2017 or 2018, the Parliament of United Republic of Tanzania moved a motion to urge Tanzania, or to not actually to urge, the Parliament of Tanzania moved a motion to declare that Tanzania, United Republic of Tanzania, should not be in EPA agreement. So I would expect this being regional or being Parliament reports to mention those issues, considering that this report is a very recent one. If it talks about EPA, it should also explain where we are in the region, who are still members of EPA, because I believe it's not forbidden for other countries to enter these international trade agreements, but I believe as for Tanzania is concerned, we are not yet agreed to be in EPA. I think this should be clear, stated in the report, as not to be considered as NTBs or any obstacle to the trade by partner states.
As we proceed, Honorable Council, I think this matter was discussed and the guidance was given by the summit, so that you need to help us not to venture too much into a subject that is somehow guided by the superior organ. Isn't there a direction so that we can settle anything to do with the EPAs and we proceed with the other subjects? Because we can risk contradicting the directive of the summit. Council, can you help us? What was the latest? Yes. I come back to Honorable Mariam. I just need this information from the council so that.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you. Actually, I need my phone. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Actually, this matter on the EPAs agreement between the East African Community and the EU on the Economic Partnership Agreement was discussed by the 20th Ordinary Summit that was held in Arusha on 1st of February, and this issue was discussed extensively between heads of state. And then the decision was taken. Let me first read the decision that was taken, the part of the paragraph on that issue. The summit received a progress report from His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni on the EU-EAC Economic Partnership Agreement, EPA, and decided that the EAC engages the EU on the matter in the next 4 months to get more clarification on the pertinent issues of concern. Thereafter, partner states who wish to may or may not sign the EPA. That decision was taken after an extensive debate of over an hour and a half, and then we decided that the Republic of Tanzania and the Republic of Burundi had issues with the agreement, and then we gave us 4 months so that we seek clarification from the European Union, and then if nothing changes, if we don't have any agreement on any revised agreement or any information from the EU that anything can change from the agreement, then the partner states that are wishing to do so will sign the agreement. But in any case, it's an agreement that was negotiated by EAC partner states, minus South Sudan, which was not yet member of the community. And to get it into force, we need, of course, to continue working as a community so that all members, all partner states of the community are on board. So this was the decision that was taken. So 4 months to get clarification, failing to which or to get any revised agreement, then partner states could sign with the hope that all of us will eventually get on board. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. So I think we are guided by that summit decision. I know it is a
clarification.
Yes, Honorable Kennedy.
Somewhere I read in that agreement, it indicates that this agreement has to be signed by all the 28 states of the EU. It also has to be signed by all the member states of the EAC. So can I get clarification from the Council's chair whether that provision is not there, or whether it allows that some members can opt to either be part or not part of it. Can I get that clarification?
Yes, Honorable Kennedy, let me conclude. Because this EPA thing is just part of this report. This entire report by CTI is not only about EPA. But we have in the program, I don't know whether it is next week, where we shall interact with the Secretariat on various projects and interventions that the community is doing with our partners. Maybe we can seek more information and more clarification during that interaction, or we can even think of how, given the updates we are given by the Council, how as Eala we can be of help in terms of working with the Secretariat as they go ahead to further negotiate. But I would suggest that in the view of the information we are given by the Council, we don't go too much into debating the EPA. Because first of all, it is a huge subject. We may not have time to debate it in this particular context. But we should continue working with the Council and the Secretariat to make sure that we are not left behind. Is it okay, Honorable Kennedy? Thank you very much. So, Honorable Mariam, now you can proceed. The EPA issue is settled. Now you proceed with your debate.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Actually, what Honorable Chair of Council of Ministers has advised is exactly what I wanted explanation to have from the report. So I'm really glad that Chair Council has cleared that up, and from that saying, it is now, if I agree well what he say, it's now depending on the revision of the agreement. So I'm settled with that and I'm satisfied with that. I thank you. And I withdraw from Honorable Chair of CTI to get any information from that, because Chair Council of Ministers has explained that. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mariam. Honorable Dr. Makame, you are next.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, I'd like to commend the chairperson of the Committee for Communication, Trade and Investments and the members for the detailed and elaborate work they have done and bring this report to the House. Mr. Speaker, particularly I'd focus on the area where the report is addressing the non-operationalization of Article 24 of the Customs Union Protocol, which establishes the Committee for Trade and Remedies. And with this, I'll iterate back in our meetings we've had previously. We've had several sessions, and in our sessions, normally, whenever we have sessions, Mr. Speaker, we always talk about barriers to trade, technical barriers to trade, non-tariff barriers, or some other, like the Chair of Agriculture, Honorable Kasamba, talked about mental barriers even. Now, Mr. Speaker, when the Council is meeting, at any time, if the Council meets, if you follow the reports of the Council, you will find that they will always cover issues relating to NTBs. They cannot escape that. When the permanent secretaries meet, they will always talk about NTBs. Experts, when they meet, they talk about NTBs. And the sad thing is, this NTB agenda and discussion is even forwarded to the summit. The summit, which was held on 1st February, they also talked about NTBs, and they directed the Council to find a solution to eliminate NTBs. Mr. Speaker, the Council is in this House because they are ex-officials, because they follow what we deliberate They are our colleagues on that aspect. And one of the issues we've been deliberated on NTBs, we deliberated on formation of this committee and the Trade and Remedies Committee. And the least we would have expected is to track down in their deliberations, in their pre-summit council meeting, that the issue of Trade and Remedies Committee was at least deliberated or discussed or tabled. And even in the summit, maybe we were expecting, maybe now because it was tabled and then the summit would resolve and direct the council to form the committee. But that one was not discussed. It was very sad on our part, Mr. Speaker, because we think and we believe that the Committee for Trade and Remedies, when the people negotiating the protocol established the customs union, they negotiated to establish the Committee for Trade and Remedies, particularly to deal with issues of trade dispute and in the community, in as far as implementation of the customs union protocol is concerned, and any other issue or a trade dispute that will be referred to it by the council. Mr. Speaker, we pointed out that it is not detrimental, it is detrimental to the work of the council if the council indulges in doing work that is not mandatory their own. Because when the council is deliberating and trying to solve NTBs, Mr. Speaker, and they are taking nationalistic positions that hinders the way they would see the community from the perspective of a community, and that will make them, that would remove them from being objective. So we thought that it is very important that the council really takes this matter and establishes the Committee for Trade and Remedies. It is going to help them, it is going to help the Assembly, it is going to help the Summit, it is going to help, moreover, the most beneficial people will be the East Africans whom we are representing in this August House. We want to see trading taking place without barriers. And how can that be? That can only be if that committee is operationalized, because everyone will now have the appropriate place to run to take the issue of non-tariff barriers and technical barriers, rather than running to council. The council, they cannot solve this. It is not, actually it's not in their mandate. They will try to do political rhetoric. That's why you hear some NTBs being resolved and then they resurface. Someone is imposing this NTB and then the other one is retaliating and imposing another NTB. This is not healthy for the community, and we think the best way now is to have that. So, Mr. Speaker, while I'm still on the floor, I'd really like us to pronounce as a house, pronounce ourselves, that we are urging the council, with timelines even, to have this committee. Because if the amendment, as my brother here, Honorable Mnya, was saying, if the amendment of the protocol was done 10 years ago, and it takes partner state a whole decade, it elapses and they haven't ratified. Is that really a commitment to have free trade in the community? We should be asking ourselves, because we want to see free trade. We want to see trade, because we're saying this is a community of rules. The rules will only be observed when that committee is operational. Mr. Speaker, I'd rest my case there, but before I resume my seat, Mr. Speaker, allow me to say something I had indicated to you. I wanted to say about, we are here in Zanzibar, and the issue about outreach. We were thinking about having a football match with the members of this house, and I had promised them that the Eala team is very strong and we will score them 5-0. So if we are not going to exercise how can we score these people? And we need to, make sure we score them 5 because there's a very popular team from Tanzania. It is called Simba Sports Club. When it went to Congo, it was scored 5. So we want to do that here, 5. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, I think you should have given more details like you gave me. I think you indicated that there is going to be transport for the members beginning at 6, and the training goes on up to 8, and that the one responsible for our transport is informed. And I'm assuming that the only game you are organizing is football.
There are others, Mr. Speaker, but
okay.
We are waiting.
So it is a training for everyone?
Yes.
Much better. Thank you so much. Honorable Musamari.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to make a contribution to this report. From the onset, I want to declare that I'm a member of the CTI committee. Let me take this opportunity to thank my chair for ably representing us and presenting this report. Before I add my voice on this report, I want to also take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to congratulate His Excellency Paul Kagame upon assuming the chair of Summit of the East African Community. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate the Honorable Dr. Richard Sezibera upon taking up the chair as the chair of council. The reason why I am also emphasizing this is that, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Dr. Sezibera was our Secretary General here and is one person who is familiar with the community. And I believe that now he's in charge. Some of the challenges which we have will be addressed by the leadership, because he is a person who is very familiar with those challenges, Honorable Speaker. And of course, the Honorable Olivier, now who is the foot soldier. I congratulate all of you. And this one is on behalf of the Assembly, of course. Honorable Speaker, in as far as the report is concerned, as far as this report is concerned, we were taken through a number of things, specifically about the pillars in the integration of the community. The customs, specifically the customs union and the common market protocol. Honorable Speaker, I want to refer members to specifically recommendation number 1 on page 16. Just for emphasis, I may read. We said that there is need for the East African Community Partner States to appreciate and accept that EAC is a single market, and for the community to realize its objectives, and as outlined in Article 5 of the treaty, the partner states need to prioritize and give unwavering support to the East African Community Integration Agenda by amending the Common Market Protocol to remove all restrictions and barriers to intra-EAC trade. I want to add that by amending not only the Common Market Protocol, but also the Customs Union Protocol. Right, Honorable Speaker, why am I bringing this matter? Is that much as the member states committed themselves and signed these protocols, the customs union protocol, and committed themselves to abolish all the restrictions to trade, both tariff and non-tariff barriers. But in actual sense, if we were to give it 100% as a mark, they are only implementing about 10%. And as far as I'm concerned, with the experience which I've now gone through, is that the people of East Africa who have enjoyed that only 10%, they feel that they have really enjoyed it. But the question is, if at all of these restrictions are abolished, what will happen? If at all they are enjoying this 10%, the little that has been implemented, they are enjoying it and they are asking. For example, the single customs territory, clearance of goods, they feel encouraged. They feel that the trade is booming and it has reduced on the time which they used to waste with their business. Now, as the Honorable Makame alluded to, as they abolish some of the tariffs, they introduce some of them. Now the question is, are we committed to the integration or we are pretending about it? There seems to be a big problem. I'll give an example. When we went to visit the OSBP in Malaba in Uganda, the goods are cleared from Mombasa. Whether they are coming to Kampala or they are going to Kigali or to the DRC, they are cleared in Mombasa. But as soon as they get out of Malaba border or Busia border, from Malaba border to Tororo, it is about 7 to 9 kilometers. But between that, in that distance alone, the traders complained that they encounter about 7 to 9 roadblocks. These are the very non-trade, these are the very NTVs we are talking about. And when we asked the police and the army who were there, say, but why are you doing this? They could not explain it well. They had no explanation. Because they claim, no, it is a security matter. This guy said that it's a security matter. Now, which security matter are you talking about now? The goods have been cleared. There are no contrabands. There are no illegal goods. They have entered the country. Or they are even transiting. And then you have one roadblock after another. 90 kilometers with the 7 to 9 roadblocks of police. Then they keep stopping the vehicles. We are concerned that we should not be coming here only to talk about these matters. And even in member states, countries, who is responsible for failing the people of East Africa? We are extremely concerned. Who is failing? We have committed to work together. Right, Honorable Speaker? This thing is like a marriage. If you choose to marry, Honorable Speaker, if two people, adults, a man and a woman, choose to marry, the Bible even clearly says, go out there and even multiply. We expect that even the fruits of marriage will be children. But there's no way you are going to produce children when you are all sleeping in the clothes in your bed. You must undress yourselves and sleep in the same bed, Honorable Speaker. I am afraid to mention this, but I'm saying it because this is what it means. If we have chosen to work together, let us not stop pretending by introducing tariffs, non-tariffs, right, Honorable Speaker. I will take the information, Honorable Speaker.
I want to inform my colleague that in any partnership and the vision and the aspiration of the people of East Africa is to widen, deepen, consolidate, and tighten.
Thank you, Ndugu Kasamba. You are not going to widen anything or deepen anything if you are pretending. So Right, Honorable Speaker, just like we have put it here, member states, if it means it is the bureaucrats, let us work out to ensure that the bureaucrats don't betray the people of East Africa, and let us not pretend that we are working together and at the same time we are not helping to ensure that we implement fully these protocols as enshrined in our treaty, Honorable Speaker. So I just wanted to add my voice that there are still impediments and we need to amend these protocols and honestly such that the people of East Africa are able to integrate freely. This integration of ours is hinged on nothing other than trade. If you allow the people of East Africa to trade freely, then the rest will just follow. Even the politics will sort out itself. The social integration of Honorable Kasamba will sort out itself. The issue of money, it will come as a demand. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Samari. And I know some of these issues will be discussed further when we discuss the report on sensitization. I think that is where you mostly came across those complaints. Now I am picking the final member because time is catching up with us. Honorable Dr. Karinda, but let me hear from Council Chair and let it be brief.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just to address some of the issues that were raised by members of Eala.
No, Honorable Minister, I think at a later point.
Okay, thank you.
At a later, if we wanted to respond to some of these issues, let's do it at a later point. So, Honorable Karinda, and you are the only unfortunate member that I'm going to ask you to be brief.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'll be brief. I just raised to point out a statement in the report that seems to me to be incorrect. Right Honorable Speaker, when you go to page 15 of this report, on paragraph Roman 6, and I read, the failure by the EAC partner states to ratify the protocol on the establishment of the EAC Customs Union indefinitely put on hold the operationalization of the EAC Committee on Trade Remedies. Right Honorable Speaker, to my knowledge, the protocol on the establishment of the EAC Customs Union was entered into force from 205. And I stand to be corrected if I am mistaken, but if I am right, I will seek from the chair to amend this paragraph. Reading this, I think there is an error. Maybe the committee wanted to say that the failure by the EAC partner state to ratify the amendment of Article 24, paragraph 2, that establishes the EAC Committee on Trade Remedies. So I think it must be an error in this paragraph, and I seek maybe clarification from the chair or amendment if need be. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Dr. Karinda. Honorable Minister, 3 minutes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
The Minister wants to keep the phone very close. I know he's struggling with Honorable Isabella who wants to help us. So put it away from the mic.
I thank my colleague for helping me with the phones. So I have a few issues to comment on. The first one is on AFCFTA, African Continental Free Trade Area. I think it's on page what page is that? Was it 40? Yes, 10, page 10, 642 Roman 2. It is said in the report that the AFCFTA was signed by 44 countries in Kigali, Rwanda in March 2018, and to date 49 countries have signed. Actually there are 52. 52 countries, AU member states who have signed. Only Nigeria, Eritrea and Benin are yet to sign. So all EAC partner states have signed, but only 3 have ratified. I think it is important to make a call for the remaining countries to ratify this agreement so that it can enter into force quickly, because we have 18 notifications out of the required 22. And then in July we have a summit, AU summit in Niamey, Niger, and one of the items on the agenda is to celebrate the entry into force of the AFCFTA. The second issue is it's about the use clause and our policy in textile and leather. The summit also, the 20th summit took a decision about this issue, which reads that the summit received a report on the review of the textile and leather sector in East Africa with a view to developing a strong and competitive sector that gives consumers better choices from imported textiles and footwear. The summit directed the Council to conclude the matter and report to the 21st summit. So the next summit of the East African community will consider this report and conclude on the matter, because as you know, we had already taken a decision at the summit level in 2016 about the use clause, but as it was said by one of the members, there was pressure from the US on this issue, and now the policy of the US is to have bilateral agreements rather than agreements with the region. So we are still discussing this. So I think this was what I wanted to raise. The other issue was covered regarding the EPAs. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you very much. Honorable Deng, you can reply to the debate and you spend 3 to 4 minutes. I suggest you focus on the proposed amendments because the rest was just to complement the report.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. So I will first tackle the issue raised by Honorable Dr. Kalinda. Yes, that was an oversight. Indeed, it should read the ratification on the Article 24.2 as you have put, and that correction will be taken on board. We'll also take on board the correction by the Honorable Chair of the Council that currently it's 52 members that have signed, so we will reflect that in the amended report. The issue raised by Honorable Kim sent me the notification to urge the Council to consider the pressure being put on by the US with regards to the used clothing. At this juncture, I just would like to also point out, I know Honorable Kim always seems to complain that members of the committee should not participate. But I think the point is that they can participate because the report doesn't necessarily reflect each and every single detail. And sometimes there are examples that are relating to certain topics that we have summarized that the members would like to elaborate on. So I think procedurally that is accepted. Of course, the priority, as you guided last time, Honorable Speaker, was to give the opportunity to those who are not members of the committee to debate first before the members of the committee. So I think that's procedurally fine. We will take on board your additions to the report. The issue raised by Honorable Kennedy, yes, you are right. I mean, I think Honorable Munya was saying earlier on that those trade agreements are such complex and voluminous documents. There's so much technical detail that 5 or 6 days or even 2 weeks of training is really not enough. And I think we mentioned in our report that really there is a necessity to continue working in collaboration with other institutions within the EAC to really understand the aspects of our mandate in terms of its technicality. The point he raised is there that, you know, we put in the recommendation that, in the observation that the Secretariat is going to look at the cost-benefit analysis of what are the benefits, economic benefits to the EAC through these agreements. So yes, I think we need to appraise ourselves, and looking at the presentation by the Secretariat, it would seem like all of these agreements, you know, they're fine, we should really ratify them, we should really go ahead, but I think due diligence needs to be there, and that can only come with informing us on the benefits to the region, and I think we put it there. I believe these are the items that I could comment on. Of course, I don't want to talk about the trade remedies again. I think we've done that to death. Hopefully, the Council of Ministers can assist us going forward, that, you know, at least for the next oversight, that at least we make some inroads to trying to fast-track establishing the trade remedies committee, because it will save a lot of time. It will also save us time when we do oversights. Instead of looking at the same issues, that we can really start addressing things that are pertinent and critical, rather than repeating and looking at the same issues that keep being raised. And as I said earlier, needing the space for these issues to be tackled, because if there is a committee that is specifically tasked with that, you know, then they will be responding in a timely matter, in a relevant matter, rather than having different organs or institutions tackling the same thing and not reaching any conclusion. With that, Honourable Speaker, I will take the opportunity to acknowledge those who have contributed to this debate. We'll start with Honourable Dr. Woda, Honourable Engineer Habib Nya, Honourable Kennedy Mukulia, Honourable Kim Gai, Honourable Mariam, Honourable Makami, Honourable Musamari, and Honourable Dr. Kalinda. With that, Honourable Speaker, I conclude and I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much. Honourable members, now the motion before the House is that just a moment. Thank you. The motion before the House is that the report of the Committee on Communication, Trade and Investment on the capacity enhancement for members in the area of trade be adopted. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes. Thank you, honourable members. I also want to join you to commend the committee. I think, first of all, this was a very important subject, and they really did a lot within a very short time. Maybe going forward, we need to devise the means how we can really be picking the most important areas we need to pursue and how we can get more time to work on them. Before I adjourn, I want to announce that the plenary that we shall have tomorrow is somehow in a different form. We agreed in the commission precisely for the same reasons that we have been having this report. There is a lot we need to know in the community that we don't know. So we have chosen to invite different organs and institutions of the community to come and interact with us in the plenary. And we shall be inviting a number of them every sitting. And it is on the basis of the briefings we get that we shall formulate activities for the committees going forward, because there is a lot that we don't know and we need to know. And not until we have enough information, we cannot exercise our oversight mandate properly. So I request you that tomorrow we attend. It is a plenary, but in that different form. On that note, I wanted to adjourn the House until tomorrow at 2:30.